We are here live in the flesh. Time to go over a One Piece 1178 chat. How we doing today? God bless everyone. Hope everyone's having a beautiful morning, day, or night, wherever you guys are. Chat, how we doing? How have you guys been since I've last seen you, which was yesterday? How's it going? We're here to do the usual, talk some One Piece, debate some One Piece, talk about geopolitics, talk about whatever. How's it going, chat? How's it going, chat? You know, I would ask if you guys want to stay on topic, but we all know that's useless, guys. We all know you guys are going to start asking me some stuff. You guys are going to start rage baiting. I'm going to ask about, we'll be asking about Zoro. I'm going to be asking about Emu. I'm going to be asking about some One Piece. People are going to start talking about some other stuff. Start debating. Start rage baiting me. Chat, how are we doing? Hope everyone's having a beautiful morning, day, or night, wherever you guys are, chat. God bless each and every one of you. Eric, God bless you, brother. Samuel, God bless, man. Johan, God bless, bro. Dean's life, God bless, man. Got Big Smokey and Big L. Yo, guys, do we open the mics today? Do we have an open mic session today? That's the question. Join. Let me see. Join streams voice call. All right, mods. If you guys are in the chat, repost what I just posted every like 10 or 15 minutes. I want some callers. I want some new faces. I want some new voices. Blackbeard video was promised 4,000 streams ago. Listen, you got to cut me some slack, man. I was sick, dude. It threw me off course, but don't worry. We will have the Blackbeard video. We will have the Blackbeard stream soon. The One Piece deterministic fate destiny stream. We will be going over that soon. Don't worry, man. It's on the way. Don't worry, bro. Abigna, hope you're doing good, man. Hope all is well. Chat, we pissed off Twitter again. I was trolling. So you guys know me. I love rage baiting the One Piece fan base. I love rage baiting the Sanji fan base. How many years have we been doing this now? Rage baiting the Sanji fans. If you guys have been watching the channel for years, you guys know what I'm talking about. Rage baiting the Shanks, Mihawk, and Sanji fan base. It's too easy, right? What is the point, though, guys? What is the point of rage baiting the Sanji fans? What is the point of rage baiting the One Piece fans? Guys, the point is to show you most people don't actually care about the world, right? Most people don't. You think people care about real human lives? Do you guys think like the majority of One Piece fans, do you think they care about the genocide going on? Do you think they care about the US, politically speaking, being hijacked? Do you think they care about anything? No, I've illustrated this to you guys many times. All that really matters is someone is someone saying Shanks over Mihawk. Someone is saying Mihawk over Shanks. Someone is trash talking Sanji. Someone's trash talking Zoro. Right? That's pretty much the only thing that really matters. Here we go again, another rant. Boring. I don't care. There's nothing we could do about it. Okay, so what are we doing about anything? Like, why when we complain and cry over, someone saying Mihawk over Shanks, does that do anything? Are we doing anything for anything? And that's my question. What's the point of doing anything or saying anything? We're not making a change, right? Also, that logic, you just sound like a total op. You sound like a total op. You're basically like team op. You're team enemy. You're just like rubbing your hands. You're over there with like rubbing your hands in the corner. Yeah, stupid Goyim. There's nothing you could do. That's like pretty much what team you're on when you doom pill. See, chat, we can't do the doom pill stuff. The doom pill stuff, it's team op, right? The people who aspire to have a better world, they're not doom pilling. It's actually the enemy that's doom pilling, right? It's like Kaido who's gonna doom pill you because he wants to control Wano. It's Emu that's doom pilling you because he wants to control the world. The good people are not doom pilling anyone. That whole doom pill stuff is literally you're basically on the you're like on the enemy side. Wait, why isn't that link to StreamYard working? Wait, is it not? Hold on, try this. Is that working? Oh, wait, I linked to the YouTube live stream on accident. Mihawk is just an allegory for American show business. That's why he joined. Bro, what? Join streams. Let me fix it. Join streams. Voice. Oh, no, don't. Join streams. Voice call here. Okay, there we go. It's because before, Smokey, when I pasted the thing in chat, I had the wrong link. I had the YouTube stream link, not the StreamYard link. My bad. But yeah, like this whole idea of, oh, I care, there's nothing we could do about it. That's just total stupidity because it takes way more action. It takes way more effort. Let me put it this way. It takes way more effort to go out and to try to make a change, go out and to vote or go out and protest or go out and, I don't know, make flyers. You know, doing things like that requires a lot of effort. The least you could do is to speak, right? If we see evil going on, we should stand up and speak, right? But people don't even want to do stage one. Like, I'm so confused, like, when I see this type of stuff, because it's like, what story are we reading? Like, is it just a waste for everyone in One Piece to do nothing aside from Luffy? Like, should they all just quit? I don't think that's the message Oda is trying to give. I don't donate on StreamYard, so you have to pay higher tax. You're welcome. Thanks, bro. With the money you gave him, you only bought food in large quantities and spent it all. What are you talking about? That link worked. All right, cool. It's true. This guy is dressed up like a clown. Who is he talking about? My having these conversations, that alone is something. By having these conversations, that alone is something. Yeah, I think it's better than nothing. I think, you know, if we see all this darkness going on in the world, we see all the evil going on in the world, and we're like, no bother in doing anything, no bother in saying anything. You're basically team evil. You're giving the evil people all the freedom to do whatever they want. Don't you think Mihawk, Kaido, Big Mom, you know, Emu, like NL, you know, don't you think all these kinds of guys, don't you think they want the good people to just shut up? Don't they want you to just like, hey, shh? Because if like, how do you make, how would people want to come together and make a positive change on the world if no one says anything, right? Why would you change something that you don't even talk about? Like, why would you realize something is wrong if there's nothing to say? It's just so dumb. Ewok, God bless, bro. What's up, Evil? Hope you're having a good day, my guy. God bless. Hey, God bless you, bro. Thank you, man. Emu is Team Evil. Hey, he's Team Evil, but not this evil. I'm doing some things I can't say against the government. Really? I'm doing some things I can't say against it. Hey, delete that. If I'm understanding your comment correctly, delete that comment. It doesn't offend me, but if I'm understanding you correctly, you gotta hide that comment, bro. Lucas, God bless you, brother. I was gonna say bro and brother. It was an awkward brother. All right, chat. Without further ado, without the delay, let's get into the long summary spoilers. More details of the chapter, things to read on from Arlong Park Forum. Short chapter of 15 pages. Chapter 1178, Waking Up from Nightmare. The reader request in the cover is Bull charging at Kid for his cloak. Kid is being chased by a giant bull. Emu separates itself from Gunko into a black shadow body like in God Valley. Then Emu uses Diabolical Covenant to stab 2 black tentacles into Luffy's body and Dragon Loki's head. Emu says, "If only thou would disappear from this world, just as Rocks did. In exchange for even greater power, Mu shall take a portion of thy lifespan. In return, you two look upon each other with hatred." Okay, so Emu is trying to have Luffy and Loki turn on each other, just like what we saw with Dory and Bragi, right? This is stereotypical One Piece. This is stereotypical, military tactics. Divide and conquer. If you're going against a cohesive army of 100 soldiers, and you have 100 soldiers, hey, the war is in the air. But if you can turn that 100 soldiers into 50 and 50, so it becomes my 100 versus their 50 and their 50, you are at an advantage. Is the divide and conquer. This is from Sun Tzu. Okay? Nothing new here. Emu uses Domi Reversi, but it has no effect on Luffy and Loki. Luffy kicks off the black tentacle. Can we really be surprised, though? Can we be surprised that Luffy? Can we be surprised that Luffy, Sun God Nika, is immune to Domi Reversi? Smokey, I want to hear an answer. Can we be surprised that Luffy, Sun God Nika, Joy Boy, the antithesis to Emu, is immune to Domi Reversi? I can't be surprised. This reminds me of when the devil tempted Jesus. Jesus wasn't falling for any of that. Okay? Jesus was not falling for any temptations from Satan. Christ destroyed Satan. Jesus called out the demons. So, in fact, what I'm thinking, Smokey, is Luffy, not only is he going to be immune to Diabolical Covenant, I bet you Luffy is going to be casting out all the demons we're seeing in these giants. Luffy says, "What are you doing? This doesn't even hurt." Loki says, "How annoying. And did you just mention rocks?" Emu says, "As expected, you two." Luffy and Loki attack Emu that cannot... Okay, this is some kind of typo. Luffy and Loki attack Emu that cannot finish the sentence. I don't know what that means. Luffy punches Emu with Gomu Gomu no Dawn Gatling, piercing Emu's black shadow body. And Loki, in human form, uses Ragnir to freeze both Mu and Gunko. So this actually plays into the hint. We had a hint of like ice, people getting turned into ice or something like that. This plays into that hint. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? There was a hint of it was some kind of ice hint. Hold on, maybe it's on my Discord somewhere. I remember seeing a hint. There was ice or something. I guess it's not on the Discord. Yo, don't gaslight me. Chat, don't gaslight me. There's an ice hint. We need more morally, or else evil will continue hating One Piece chapters. Yeah, if the chapter doesn't have morally, it's certified trash. Yo, MD Luffy, God bless you, brother. How you doing, man? If it doesn't have morally, the chapter is trash. We all know this. The chapter needs morally. It needs Charlos, it needs Zoro, and it needs Mr. 3. I mean, come on, how could I, of all people, not stand Mr. 3? Think about that. Luffy is more King Arthur than Jesus. Wait, are you sure about that? Because Luffy has the sun god Nikafru, and last time I checked, Kuma was a pastor of a church praying to Nika in the symbol of a cross. I mean, how much more obvious could it be? Then you got devil fruits, you got the tree of knowledge, you got the Noah's Ark. Gee, I wonder if Luffy's inspired by Jesus, guys. I guess you could argue that, okay, well, maybe Luffy, he takes inspiration from Jesus, but he's more fitting for King Arthur. Okay, I can understand that. Maybe it doesn't have to be a false dichotomy. Maybe it doesn't have to be either Luffy's inspired by Arthur or he's inspired by Jesus. It could be both, but maybe one more than the other. But I actually want to know the King Arthur inspiration. Yo, what's good, Gifted Basic V? How are you not scared to say this stuff? Masad is watching. I think you meant they are everywhere, even in my school. You need to be careful. Well, bro, maybe I just don't think about it that deep. The way I see it is Jesus Christ should be, and he really is, the model for all people, the model for all men. Jesus was arrested and killed in front of everybody for speaking the truth, including the early church, our martyrs, the saints. They didn't stop speaking the truth just because, oh, well, I'm scared. Oh, well, it's uncomfortable. Because I was just talking about this before stream. I believe we are all here for a purpose. Human beings have, I believe in teleology. I believe there's an inherent goal and meaning and purpose in our lives. I believe our purpose is for theosis. Our purpose is to be like God. The Son of God became man so that man may become God. I think that's our purpose. And by us being like God, one of the aspects of that would be us loving each other, us helping the world, us serving our neighbor, us loving our neighbor. And if we're not willing to do the smallest thing, like expose evil with our mouth, how are we going to ever do the big thing? What did Christ say? Christ said, there is no love like someone who lays his life down for his brother. I mean, what percentage of people are going to die for someone they love? That is a pretty high cost compared to what? Vocally saying something? Hanuman, what's good, Eli? Hanuman is the closest. I think the Jesus parallels come much later than either of the others. The whole story is based on the Middle Ages at the beginning. He changed because One Piece is the Holy Grail. Wait, what do you mean? All right, let's continue. Everything comes back to normal. We see everyone putting out fire. Chopper turns Domi reversed giants back to normal by just hitting them one time. Zoro says maybe Chopper can do it because he's a great doctor. Guys, what could this mean? You know, Smokey was tossing around some ideas. He was messaging, he was messaging me his ideas. Maybe actually, I don't want to say it on stream. I'll let Smokey explain his theory on his own. He'll explain it much better than me, obviously. Smokey has some pretty good ideas, but Chad, I want to know what your guys' ideas are. Why do you think Chopper is able to heal people? Is it the Rumble Balls? Is it Conqueror's Hockey? Is it his fruit? Is it something else? Yo, Stan, welcome back, bro. God bless, man. How you feeling, bro? What county do you think is the great Satan today? What do you mean, what county? Do you mean country? What country do I think is the great Satan? Yo, MD Luffy, I think me and you, I think we were going back and forth yesterday. I'm glad to see that there's no hard feelings, including everyone else in chat. Guys, if I ever read your comments and I say, bro, this is stupid, bro, this is dumb, never take it personal, chat. Never take it personally. I guess some people will, some people are going to be like, bro, yo, Evil, you're such an asshole, man. I'm tired of you, bro. It is what it is. I guess it's going to happen, but try not to, guys. Try not to, because I really do care about you guys. Okay, so he says yes. Which country is the great Satan? Well, I don't want to go off topic because I saw a certain someone, they were already crying in the chat. Why is he ranting? My opinion, my professional opinion is that the great evil society of modern day of the 2026, the whole Satan exists everywhere, but the great home base, the capital of Satan's home, it is Israel. And Israel is a evil, satanic, counterfeit Israel. The true Israel is the church that Jesus made, not the magical soil in the Middle East. And this satanic nation state of Israel has hijacked many other nations, such as the United States of America. I don't even know what type of accent that was. That was like a mix of like Italian and African. The great home base of Satan, Prince of Darkness, is Israel. And this home base is the base of operations that reaches out to other entities. And the biggest entity it has control over is the United States of America. Now, if you ask me, I'm going to finish off this question and I'm going to get back to the spoilers. If you ask me, I think America need not be controlled by the international Jew. I don't think America needs to be co-opted by Israel. I think America should be ran by Americans. I think with American interests. I think India should be ran by Indians. I think Japan should be ran by the Japanese. I think Africa should be ran by Africans. I think Palestine should be ran by Palestinians. So on and so forth. I don't believe Israel deserves to run my country, let alone should we even have friendly relations with them, as they stole nuclear technology from us with the Apollo incident, and they've done many other horrific crimes. And we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. All right. As situation comes back to normal, we see Summers' body is coming back together, and we can see that his heart is mechanical. Luffy and Loki are next to the ice block where Emu and Gonko are trapped. Luffy, in old form, asks Loki to bring him food, but Loki tells him to go to the village himself to get it. Given the refusal of Loki, Luffy asks Ragnar to bring him food. All right, dude. Oda, come on, man. This is a very serious moment, and you're trolling, Oda. This is a very serious moment. Yeah, exactly. Why is Mexico ran by that? How? They don't have your interests in mind. They really don't. I'm sorry. They don't have your interest in mind, dude. They don't. They don't, dude. All right. While Luffy and Loki are talking, we see that Imu's black shadow body disappears from the inside or from inside the ice block. Chapter ends in Marijoa. We see that outside Pangea Castle, some buildings are burnt and destroyed. Imu is in the Room of Flowers and calls to the Five Elders. Five Elders. Five Elders by Den and Mushi say, right here, Imu-sama. Imu says, Mu will leave the Holy Land for a little while. End of chapter. No break next week. And that appears to be the spoilers. Let me know how you guys feel about these spoilers. What are we thinking with the spoilers? Comment down below. 1 to 10. What are we rating the spoilers? Leave a like on the stream, guys. Do all the YouTube stuff. Like the stream. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell if you haven't already so you don't miss future content. We will be having a special video / stream here soon. Okay. Yo, I'm convinced that 2032 and 2033 will be linked to Freemasonry through the numbers 32 and 33. Yeah, I know about the 33, degrees of Freemasonry or whatever, but I think Freemasonry I think it's like done, bro. I think Freemasonry is like out the picture. I think once we know the deeper, once we know the deep depths of a secret society, the society's already dissolved. They're already onto a new one. So I think Freemasonry, all it is now, it just got overtaken by a bunch of old, rich, bored white men smoking cigars. I don't think that the actual, powerful elites of today's society are still Freemasons. I'm pretty sure they just made new secret societies by now. And Freemasonry is like that old thing that people were doing back then. The elites, the powerful figures of society, they've moved on from Freemasonry. Freemasonry, that was so 1970s. We're in 2026, bro. You know how many books there are exposing Freemasonry? You could literally, if you live in the US, right? You could go find a Freemasonry lodge in Florida and just walk in there and join Freemasonry. There's even Freemason subreddits. So I think it got so mainstream that the actual powerful people of today's society, they've moved on from Freemasonry. They're on to new things. Bro, I get ads on YouTube to join Freemasonry lodges. Yeah, Freemasonry, what I will say is that Freemasonry, which is supposed to be this evil, dark, bad, sacred, secret society, one of their core tenets is perennialism. Okay, well, let's pull up perennialism in case people are not familiar with that term. Let's pull up perennialism because you guys are talking about this right now. So let me join in the conversation, and then we're going to switch to open mic soon. We're going to have some callers. I think Elijah Sands was trying to get into the stream voice call yesterday, but he wasn't able to. So Elijah, if you're here, bro, I will prioritize you. I'll bring you in first. But chat, one of the core tenets of Freemasonry, right, is this idea of perennialism. Now, what I mean by perennialism is it's this idea that all the religions, they're equally true. They all have truth and they all come from the same divine source. You see, they suggest that all authentic religious and wisdom traditions share a single universal truth. Now, think about how in New Age philosophy now, and even the Catholic Church is inching towards this agenda that all religions are created equal and they're all talking about the same God and the same source. It's almost like this concept of nobody gets duped by demons. It's no, everyone is equally valid, which I'm pretty sure is exactly what demons would want to say. It's like, no, 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 no. You're not getting fooled by a demon. You're not being led to the devil. You're actually finding a profound truth that you can see elsewhere. Hold on. I'm trying to pull up the Discord. What happened? Oh my gosh, bro. I have to share Discord in a different way from how I share media browser screen, and it is so AIDS, guys. Won't Freemasonry get more active if they build the third temple? I mean, maybe. I guess that would inspire them to start talking, but I think Freemasonry is kind of out the picture. I think it's like a very old thing now. I think people have moved on. I think Talmudic Judaism is the new Freemasonry. Am I going to get banned for saying that? $25 bro fell off. Hey, listen, man. Only a tiny percentage of the US population, let alone the Earth population, is real. You know, we could just I don't know, just talk a whole bunch of pointless random garbage and spike up the viewers. We could just get like a girl, have her on stream, make her like half naked, and just get thousands of views, man. Get all the super chats. I've seen some people with Freemason chats, bro. That's insane. Bro, it's actually, I'm not gonna lie, chat. Getting views is not very hard. All you gotta do is just say a whole bunch of like useless, stupid crap and just appeal to the carnal pleasures. It's not hard. But when like, see, chat, our community, you see, when people take a look at this community that we've built up, this family, Johan, Viswa, Smokey, El, Abigna, Eli, etc. We're actually deep thinkers. We actually want to talk about the real subjects at hand. We want to talk about, you know, the deep matters, the things that lie beyond the surface. And NPCs, the normies, they don't really like that. You know, they just want to talk about like Luffy big punch, ha ha ha. Sports ball. Y'all used to be cool. SMH, I'm out. What happened to freedom of speech here? Why is he crying? Buy freedom. Wait, what happened? Damn, free my boy Freedom. Y'all can't take jokes. Shut up, Eric. Freedom has been pushing it for days. You don't just come in and ask, where's your gay lover, Smokey? Wait, did he get muted? Chat, I've been telling you guys, if someone gets muted, it doesn't appear in my chat. My chat is different from your chat. You banned him? Yo, moment of silence. Moment of silence for Freedom. Freedom has the right to just post garbage 24/7. Come on, man. Freedom deserves the right to just post trash every single message. Come on, man. Don't you know freedom of speech, bro? Huh? Yo, Smokey, don't you know freedom of speech, bro? I have the right to just post mind-numbing stupidity, dude. Come on, Smokey, make yourself known. I'm pulling you in here. What if I want to just post offensive, stupid trash, huh?
Nah, you're right. You want me to unban him?
just you know what, just to keep the peace, take that as a wait. Actually, bro, freedom has been timed out so many times. What do you
not just by me? Vincent has also done it. I'm not the only one.
Bro,
on
freedom
my
has
nerves,
had
dog.
so many
But if you
chances to
don't
not.
want me to ban him, then I won't. But
All
he
right,
gets on
listen,
my nerves.
you're gonna unban him, and basically, freedom. This is your last straw, okay, buddy?
All right, so let me see. I'll have to
Actually,
open up
I
the
might have to
YouTube stream.
unban.
You might have to do that one.
All right, let me read this donation. I'll let you answer as I unban freedom, and then I'll answer. Okay.
Okay, and then do you want me to explain the idea I was having the other day?
Yeah.
By the way,
I definitely want you to share that idea, but let's get to the dono first. Luffy,
okay.
MD Luffy, thank you so much, brother. God bless you, King. Thanks for giving us a free speech zone for us to debate any topic under the sun. Separate note, do you think Emu's about to steal / extract the Nidhogg devil fruit from Loki when he gets to Elbaf? And is Laugh Tail a literal monkey tail that belongs to Joy Boy? Not like a monkey's paw, a monkey's tail. Yeah, I'll let you take over for that one, Smokey.
I'd rather kind of like that idea. Okay, so we know that Loki's special because of his fruit, right? So I rather like the idea of Emu being able to defeat him and extract the fruit. I know Oda would never do it because Loki is in the mural, but I think it'd be cool. It would definitely raise the stakes. Emu stocks would go through the freaking roof. So I like the idea.
But hey, we're all here for raising the stakes.
Do I think it'll happen? Maybe not.
Oh man, but I'm trying to find freedom to unmute him. I don't see his name, but yo, I think Emu.
He'll be back in 24 hours for the chapter. He'll be all right.
I think Emu. Yeah, he'll be okay. Don't worry, Freedom. You'll be fine, dude.
By the way, Freedom, you don't come in like frame one and say, "Hey, where's your gay lover, Smokey?" No, hi, how are you? No, God bless. How are you?
Yeah, man, he just hops. Dude, like I'm not. We're not making any excuses when I say this. I'm just trying to illustrate a picture here. Dude, 99% of chats and channels would have got rid of freedom like a year ago, dude. Like, no offense. So I know technically, over here on the channel, guys, we uphold free speech, but does that mean we should never ban anyone under any circumstances? What if someone's like freedom, huh? Yeah. Okay, anyways, I think Emu stealing Loki's fruit would be insane, but do we want to see a continuation of Loki's fruit? I mean, would that even be a good argument to begin with? Like, can we say, oh no, Emu's not going to steal Loki's fruit because that would be boring. We got to see Loki's fruit some more. But like, just because something is boring, I don't think that is a good argument at all. That's just an appeal to emotion. We can't sit there and say like, oh, this one thing in the story, it's not going to happen because that would be boring, or I wouldn't like that, because anyone could say that about anything before it happens.
Yeah, because if I'm being truthful, half of the things that I say I don't like is based off my personal opinion. If I don't like something in the story, it's because I don't like it. It doesn't suit my purposes. Like, I can admit, I am driven by my opinion when I say things.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be normal. A lot of times us humans, we imprint our emotions and our opinions onto things. But we always got to know, chat, if we're going to have an actual conversation with someone, We're going to ask them questions. We're going to posit our own beliefs. We always got to remember what is or isn't a fallacious argument. So again, if I say, well, no, MD Luffy, there's no way that Emu's going to take Loki's fruit, because that would be dumb. That would be boring. That would be a fallacious argument. That's really just an appeal to emotion. In the same way, when I had that video years ago, 4, 5, 6 years ago, saying that Luffy's fruit is not actually the Gomu, it's not actually a paramecia, rather it's a secret Zoan, there were people that told me, no, this theory can't be true. Your idea, your conclusion has to be false, because I think it would be stupid. I as in them. See, that
this was 6 years ago? This was back in Wano, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But the point is that I'm trying to illustrate, chat, is they try to argue that the conclusion is false because they don't like the conclusion. That's not an argument. And what ended up happening, it actually did turn out to be true. The conclusion was true, that Luffy was based on Hanuman, that Luffy didn't have the Gomu Gomu no Mi. It was a Zoan. It wasn't a paramecia. So we gotta start identifying, when am I committing a fallacy or not? Because especially, in discussions, Smokey, if I'm trying to get you to buy into my theory, I'm trying to get you to agree to my conclusion, shouldn't I present good arguments?
Yep. In general, if you're trying to persuade somebody with arguments, you got to come with bullet points. You got to come with like a purpose. If you're going to convince somebody to change their mind on anything, you really got to think about it and plan it out. Like outside of like just like a common conversation with an acquaintance, a friend, a family member, like you got to have your bullet points pointed out, and you got to have evidence and bring the facts if you want to change somebody's mind.
Right. And that's not to say, Chad, that's not to say like, oh, you can't have a joke theory. You can't talk about an idea like colloquially with a friend. No,
yeah, my joke theory is Ragnar's the new emergency food and Chopper's been replaced. See, merchandise sales like for Ragnar is going up through the roof. We're making a cool 100 million this year. Invest in Ragnar.
Invest in Ragnar. Hey, according to King J, Ragnar is literally top 5 in the story, dude. That's bold.
I mean, he's got a lot of like supporting evidence, but I don't particularly like it, because my thing with King J is you want to listen to the donkey of the year of 2025 and what he says, but you don't want to listen to Gabon.
But
that's been my thing with King J. But he's got a point. He does have a point. He can bring you up all the manga panels. He can walk you through it. He does make a good point.
Going back to the original point, you can have a joke theory, you can have a troll theory, you could throw things out there. But once we're trying to present a case and we genuinely want people to take it seriously, you don't want people to sleep on you, especially, when people get a bit passive aggressive. You'll see sometimes people on Discord, they'll say things like, yeah, watch, when my theory comes true, you guys are going to see that I'm right. You guys are going to look like idiots. When you start having that kind of energy, it's like, okay, you need to actually use a proper syllogism for your theory. You need to make sure there's no fallacies in your argumentation. You need to have no contradictions, things like that. But I'm sorry, MD Luffy, I'm not really answering your question. Do I think Emu will steal / extract the Nidhogg fruit? I mean, it's possible. I don't think it's impossible, but there's no compelling reason within me that makes me think like, oh yeah, definitely Emu's going to take that Nidhogg fruit. I don't really get that feeling. I don't really get
if you wanted me to put a percentage on what I think the chances are of that actually happening, I'm going to be generous. I'm going to give it a 20%.
And that's generous.
Yeah.
Now, what points us in that direction, though? Like, I
guess maybe because Emu might be coming there himself, and he might have stronger abilities in his own body, which we logically would assume, right? Not using Gunko, not using Saturn.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that, but personally, I just think it would destroy Loki's narrative. Like, he's already proven to be resistant to the Domri Reversi. So for Emu to even extract him, he would have to kill Loki, is what I would think. Kill Loki and extract the fruit the same way Blackbeard does. Well, different way, different power, but
here, because there's not too many people joining the open mic. I'm gonna bring Vincent in now. But chat, if you guys want to join the stream's open mic call, ask me questions, debate me, share theories, whatever. I got the link in the chat for anyone willing to join.
By the way, I've been checking out the bingo board. We're not really hitting at the moment, but I feel like the end of this arc is when our bingo board is really going to pick up. And as we continue on into the year.
Hey, don't underestimate the bingo board, man. Just you got to understand Oda's fumbling right now. If Oda's not fulfilling our theories, he's fumbling the story, okay?
Damn it, Oda, you fumbling.
I mean, someone's theories are getting filled out somewhere, so somewhere he's not fumbling.
It just depends on if it's our theory or not.
Yeah, exactly.
You missed the point. It ain't us, so it ain't gonna fly.
Look, you got to understand, if Oda doesn't do what I want, it sucks.
Bad writing, terrible Oda.
Bad writing,
terrible, just terrible.
Johan says you judge our theories like a professor. Thank you. I want you guys to judge my theories like a professor. I want you guys to hear my arguments, hear my takes, hear my theories, and tell me, you know, Eddie, your argument is inconsistent because you said this one thing, but there's a contradiction in that. You know, I find that much more. Me personally, I enjoy that much more. I find it way more useful than, you know, someone saying like garbage theory, or even I guess if someone says fire theory. I mean, like, how do I know where the errors are?
I mean, that's what I do. Anytime you put out a theory, the first thing I do is listen to it and then try and find as many holes in it as I can. And
gotta poke holes.
The less holes there are, the more solid the theory. Like, it's not just simple as making a theory. There's an actual art to it, guys.
That's true. There is an art to it. You know, you can't just like have a cool idea in your head and you force it. Like when these ideas, these answers come to your mind, chat. Let me give you the sauce right here. This is how you do it, right? If you are making a theory and you have a good idea about something, your mentality should not be, how can I prove this theory true? Your mentality should be, how can I prove this theory false? You should have your take, have your answer, have your theory. Try to poke as many holes into it as possible. You wanna find out what the best answer is, right? That's what makes a theory so good, right? Wouldn't we agree? Most people would agree a good theory, a good answer, a good conclusion is one that's very hard to disprove, one that answers everything with the least amount of assumptions. Well, how do you deliver that if you're forcing something because you just want that to be the answer? Like that's not going to work. You got to figure out, what are the problems with my original take? What is the weakness of it? Is it true? Is it not true? How can I change this theory? What is it about this theory that's lacking? What is the better option? See, that's the true beauty. That's the true art of making a proper One Piece theory. And to those of you that have been making One Piece theories, to you guys, you know, my One Piece theorists in the chat, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know when you're thinking and pondering about a certain question in One Piece, you know that first answer that comes to mind, you eventually run into problems that you can't answer. So then you have to deliberate amongst yourself. You have to figure out and synthesize the better conclusion, the better answer. It's not always going to be that first thing that pops to mind. In fact, sorry, I'll let Vincent and Smokey, I'll let them go on after this. But in fact, I would even argue that Oda is installing these first things that come to our mind. Oda is writing One Piece in such a way that he will cause us to imagine a conclusion. He's causing us to imagine a conclusion. He's leading us to an idea, right? That way, when he presents something else, it surprises us. It hits us with a curveball. He wants to lead us into thinking, you know, oh, the answer to this question has to be A. But he's doing that on purpose. That way, when he delivers the answer and it's actually B, we're caught by surprise. We're thinking, oh man, I didn't even realize B was an option. I thought it was A all along. It's a curveball. It's a plot twist.
By the way, guys, we're going to give you an example of this very, very soon with what I was thinking about for Chopper. And he'll show you exactly. We'll do it. We'll bring up a couple manga panels. I'll put out my little guess on it, and then we can refine it, and he'll show you exactly what he's talking about. It'll be an interesting exercise.
I do want to hear your theory, but I want to ask really quick again. Johan, you said if I was a teacher, I would be Onizuka. I don't know who that is, but Vincent and Smokey, what are your thoughts on this whole, meta discussion of theories?
I'll let Vincent go first. Vincent said, "What? Wait, huh? I was making breakfast."
He was zoned out. No, Oda's safe from Assad. Don't worry.
All right. So, sorry, I was halfway paying attention to it. I got like half of that.
It's all good, bro. I was just saying,
he was making waffles.
Have good arguments.
That's all.
Just have good arguments with a theory.
All right. Well, to go back to the theory about Emu taking Loki's fruit, I don't think that's it's a strong possibility because we've talked before about how Emu could possibly absorb people's powers and transfer them to others, like how Apocalypse from X-Men can, like just stacking bodies on top of each other for possession. And
sorry, carry on.
But I feel like that since we literally see them say that Domi Reversi does not work on Luffy and Loki, it makes me think to believe that those specific devil fruits are immune to Emu's power. Either that or you have a strong enough will to keep them off you. We still have no clue what Domi Reversi's power actually does. And like you said the other day, it could be one of many different theories.
Vincent,
I think it's a combination of both, Vincent.
Vincent
the fact that
I want to ask you to confirm. No devil fruit users have been Domi Reversi'd, correct?
No, none have so far.
So could that be why Chopper, Luffy, and Loki have the reactions that they do?
Possibly. I think it's very, very possible. But I also think there's special exclusivity and special reasons for Luffy in particular, and to some degree Loki. But in general, I think it has to do with devil fruits have a will of their own, especially Zoan fruits. So...
Oh, that would be all three of them, actually. That would be all three of them. You make a good point. Zoan's will of their own. I see where you're getting at. Bro, we're on the same frequency. It clicked. Smokey, me and you, we clicked.
Exactly.
I was going to say, if they have a will of their own, does that mean that it's basically two souls in one body, and that's what makes it so difficult for Emu? He's trying to possess two for the price of one?
Possibly. That's one way to look at it, yeah. Two souls, one body. If you count the devil fruit's will.
You do have that dialogue in Eni's lobby. There's a demon inside of you, and then when you have a second fruit, you die. So there might be some kind of...
Unless you're Blackbeard.
Unless you're Blackbeard. There might be some kind of situation where when characters eat devil fruits, there is some kind of demonic force within them. There is some kind of second soul, some kind of second entity within them, and the diabolical covenant, aka Domi Reversi, it doesn't work because that person's soul or body already has.
By the way, a theory's been busted, guys. The Domi Reversi link to being on your homeland just got busted because Loki couldn't get Domi Reversi. You could chalk it up to his fruit, but the conditions remain the same. He's on his homeland. So even if we threw the fruit aside, then technically he should have been able to bend Domi Reversi. Just like Ross was.
You're talking about you can't be Domi Reversi'd if you're home?
No, you can. We used to think that was one of the conditions, right? So emotional distress, being on your homeland, those were like two prevailing theories of how the Domi Reversi worked. So I'm saying one just got busted because
Which
Loki
was the homeland one.
Yeah, Loki just busted it.
Okay, I don't want to play that whole thing of like, oh, I knew it all along. But I do, honestly, I do remember saying that, like, you having to be at home seemed like a bit, like, arbitrary. It seemed like a bit, like, convenient. You know, it sticks out where it's like, oh, well, they have to be home. Well, I mean, like, how does that work? Like, what if the piece of land moved? Like, it strikes me as something very odd, but something like someone being distressed, I think, like, that's more reasonable. So I'm saying this to say that, you know, the idea of them having to be at home or whatever being busted, I mean, that makes sense. It just, do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, it seemed like a really weird condition.
Sure. I agree. It was just like, it was a preliminary thing. You know, we barely have any information. So people were going with the
we did what we could.
Well, the thing is, if it's about emotion, then that would mean that Luffy and Loki are extremely calm when it comes to facing Emu. And you wouldn't think that would be the case if you remember last chapter with Usopp and Brook being.
With Luffy specifically, I think he's immune because he's freaking Luffy. That's what I think.
Just because his rubber bounces off of him.
Yo, L, shut up, bro. Like, is that such a surprising word? Is that like word? Why does that word have such a strong grasp on you? Yo, sometimes I can't stand this Nacho Libre looking man, bro.
Not L in the comment throwing your words back at you.
Can't stand this Modelo sipper, bro. This Corona-holic.
Nacho! Jack Black's at it again, y'all. Look out.
Okay, so Smokey, I do take your word for it, but Vincent, you can confirm that no devil fruit users have been Domi Reversi'd?
I mean, unless you count Holy Knights, which might be a different system altogether. Or we're not sure what their method is for Domi Reversi. You say it's Demonic Covenant where they give you their heart, but I'm not going to lie to you. I took a look at the Raws before I came up here, and we see Summer's heart laying on the freaking floor. So they're not heartless.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me ask the chat really quick. Guys, are you guys okay with us discussing the Raws? And no, I cannot put the Raws on the screen. I'm sorry. Last time I did that, I literally got a strike. Not even a claim. I got a strike from that. And you know what's crazy? I even had a filter over it. So I have no idea how that happened. Guys, do you want to discuss the Raws even though I can't put it on the screen? But Vincent, continue.
Anyway, like I was just saying, we see Summer's heart on there, which I also find it kind of somewhat hysterical because anyone that's remembered the scene from A Spot of Nine from Bleach sees his head rolling around on the ground and he's just shouting and crying. It's just hysterical for me. He's supposed to be this proud holy knight, and he's crying like a damn baby, like, God damn son, man, I'm goddamn hell on the floor, get me down over here.
I want to ask you though, Vincent, when Luffy this chapter in the Raws, he's punching Emu and there's like holes in Emu. Are you getting the vibe that Emu's taking damage, or are you getting the vibe of like pre-time skip Luffy, he's punching Smoker and he doesn't know how to use hockey to do damage? What vibe do you get when you see Luffy punching holes in Emu? And then Smokey, you go after him.
I didn't really think about that part, but I guess you could say, yeah, he was, in a way, Emu was taking damage, but it wasn't him taking damage. It was just more of maybe just more like his essence taking damage, kind of like how it hits or so. I mean, we didn't see him shake like last time, so probably wasn't hitting his soul, but more like just the body he was possessing. But we didn't really know how much damage he took because Loki froze him before he could have a chance to regenerate. So I don't really know the answer to that.
So for me, it simply boils down to this. Like, Emu felt like the power that both Loki and Luffy were outputting was enough for him to convince himself to go back and get his real body. And now we see Emu's now leaving the castle. So where are you going, Emu? Are you going to get a power-up? Are you going to get a weapon? Are you going to get a grimoire? Or are you coming out Elbaf? Which is it? Are you going to set something in motion, or are you coming out Elbaf? What's happening?
You going to use your grimoire's full power?
Grimoire. Okay, so one thing I want to point out is if you guys are looking at the Raws this chapter 1178, notice how we have Luffy. Okay, so Emu separates from Gunko's body. And notice how they're in the sunlight of Elbaf. But Emu looks exactly as he normally does in Marijoa. Don't you think it's rather strange that we don't see Emu's nose and face and all that? Like, it seems very bizarre. God bless you, Amuni. It seems very bizarre that Emu is still depicted as what we would assume is silhouetted. It almost makes me think, is this what Emu actually looks like?
Yeah, I mean,
like blackness, like a void. Like, is this actually what he looks like? This isn't a silhouette.
So I don't even blame you for thinking about it that way, because I've seen it been posed so many times that basically the silhouette of Emu is actually Emu. Oda's not actually silhouetting him.
Well, here's
I'm looking at the Raws. I'm sorry, Vincent. I'm looking at the Raws, and I'm thinking, like, I mean, I could understand, maybe Oda wants to save Emu's appearance a little bit more, but this seems so, like, it seems like further. It's like away from that. They're in the sunlight. Luffy's punching him, and it's not like you could say, "Oh, well, Emu's controlling under the body." No, Emu's separated from Gunko's body.
Same way he did with Saturn when he, like, you could see his shadow rising above Saturn.
Go ahead, Vincent.
Anyway, what I was just going to say is that I've had this thought in my mind for a long time now, and I don't know if others will agree, but for me, when I look at Emu and his power and how he's apparently, how they say he's connected to Gecko Moria when it comes to possessing someone through their shadow, I think Emu actually is the shadow of Joy Boy, like his literal shadow. And he was somehow separated from Joy Boy, and he became the new ruler. Kind of like how Peter Pan's shadow was separated at the beginning. He had to sew it back on. The shadow has a mind of its own, so maybe this is Oda's twisted way of turning an old fairy tale into a true satanic figure.
Is Emu a shadow that was given a devil fruit?
Or maybe Emu's shadow is the devil fruit.
I mean, you're having my mind racing right now because I'm thinking about arcs like Thriller Bark. Luffy's shadow is just, like jumping around all weird. It didn't really know how to operate. And they had to stick Luffy's shadow in oars. But, like, Emu seems like a very competent shadow. It's just like...
Exactly. Like I said, Peter Pan's shadow has a mind of its own. So if Peter Pan is Joy Boy and Joy Boy is Peter Pan, then the shadow deviated from Joy Boy. And you can probably tell that this is more like it because at the beginning we saw Roger as the main protagonist. Yeah. And who does Roger look like in Peter Pan? Captain Hook.
I like that. But Jordan, I'm sorry, this is off topic, but this is a very interesting question. Jordan asked, do shadows need perpetual youth? That's actually fascinating because if a character in One Piece dies, we all kind of assume that the shadow dies with it too. But what if the shadow separates and then the person's vessel is like disintegrated? Does a shadow just disintegrate? Did Thriller Bark explain that at all?
Well, I mean, I believe they explained that if the body dies, the shadow is separated from it separates from whatever it's attached to. So maybe Emu has Joy Boy's body preserved somewhere, or he's taken over another body to keep himself alive. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Smokey. Go ahead.
No, that's kind of like Voldemort when he took over Quirrell in the first book because he was just trying to stay alive. He was only like a ghost, like an entity.
He's more parasitic than he is demonic.
Exactly. There you go.
So I'm trying to think about the mechanics of a shadow. So would we say a shadow's immortal?
I mean, shadow is the void. I think someone said shadows were the void absence of life, so maybe it doesn't need a vessel to be alive. It just needs constant darkness.
The shadows, they can't handle sunlight, right? Like if a shadow is in the sunlight, it would evaporate? Or is that the vessel without the shadow?
The vessel without the shadow will evaporate. Like, remember when Robin was getting her face fried off because of the sun?
Or in the beginning of
that happened to Brooke. Brooke lost a shadow and he couldn't be in the light, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can only stay within the Floridian Triangle waters because of the cover, the cloud cover.
Would you guys posit if I took Luffy's shadow and then I blew up Luffy's body and his body was just gone forever, would that shadow still be usable?
Well, the one thing about Luffy is, and we know it because we saw it with Oars, is that Luffy's will is just indomitable. So the shadow's not going to respond unless you're Gecko Moria. Of course, he had the shadow proof, but it took even time for Oars to even obey him.
And if you remember that same battle, Moria explained that as long as he manipulates a shadow, the possessed body can do whatever the shadow can. So, like, he can extend his arms to do the actual gum attacks.
Yeah, because remember when Oris tried it the first time, he said, wait, that wasn't how I imagined it. I was supposed to stretch. And then later on in the arc, he actually stretches.
Okay, maybe Luffy wasn't a good example. I'm just trying to give an example for my question. If you, like, let's say Robin then. If you took Robin's shadow away from her vessel, and then you
somebody's gonna
killed
fight
her vessel.
If you mess with my girl. Not
okay, fine. Another option. If you took St. Charles and you separated St. Charles' shadow and you destroyed St. Charles's body.
Oh, brother, you got one lazy family like that.
Bro, you are the worst.
My mind was going more
worst.
Towards Zoro and Sanji's shadows because they were the only ones that got put into actual zombies.
Okay, well, if you got Sanji and you removed Sanji's shadow and then you put Sanji's body in an incinerator and it just was gone forever, would that shadow cease to be, or is that shadow immortal? Because I'm persistent on this question because one, it's kind of interesting, and two, maybe this is somewhat related to the true Emu and Joy Boy. I want to know: are the shadows, when separated from the vessel, immortal?
Well, so I think like, all right, follow me. I think okay. So remember back when before this chapter when we used to think, hey, maybe it's possible that Emu can't leave the Holy Land. Well, a shadow, if he is a shadow, he would never be exposed to light. But now that we're seeing him leave, wouldn't it mean that a shadow can live in sunlight? So even let's say the body did
if he was a shadow, you mean, right?
Yeah. So if let's say Joy Boy's body died and Emu was the separated shadow, right? So he lived on. He was able to go in sunlight. So, yeah, I would say they're basically immortal.
And here's another thing that could probably point out the fact that maybe Marie Joie is either above the clouds where the sun can't reach it or subterranean where the sun can't reach it. The flower room probably has artificial sunlight, which Emu does not get affected by.
Yep, that's an explanation too. Artificial sunlight. Yep.
And it would make more sense if he was underground because that's where Sun Tree Eve lets out all the artificial sunlight.
If Emu was a shadow, my question is, how come he has eyes like that, but like the other shadows don't really have eyes? Do they?
Yeah, that's a good point too.
Well, like I said, it's possible that the shadow is possessing someone. Like it's either possessing the corpse of Joy Boy or maybe even Lily Nefertari.
Well, I wouldn't knock off that option, but I'm mostly asking under the framework that when we look at Emu, we're looking at a shadow. So like under your framework, under that possibility, then we wouldn't be looking at a shadow. We would be looking at a silhouette. Which, yeah, that's possible, but I'm mainly asking, like,
or maybe the shadow ate a human fruit and became more humanoid.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Like, I was asking, could a shadow eat a fruit? Like,
so another model of the Hito no Mi?
Well, it wouldn't be the standard Hito unless Chopper is something else. It would have to be like a model, a different model.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. What would the model be? That'll just get an influx of THC in your system. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's going to be.
You are. See, you are the plug. I knew it, man. High off your own supply.
Higher than Kafka's neck.
Higher than
the dude with the long nose from Water 7.
Yeah.
Higher than a giraffe pussy on that one island where the giraffe was like super tall.
Yo, Eli said model chosen people. Hito no Mi model Talmud.
Hito no model Judas.
Model Goyim.
Model Hito no Mi model Israel.
Model Israeli God.
Hito no Mi model Mossad.
Model Muhammad.
Hito no Mi model Star of David.
Hito no Mi model Star of Rimfan. Okay, that's some elite ball knowledge right there.
Model King Baldwin.
King Baldwin was based, man. That's our based king right there. It's Always Sunny in Annie's Lobby made a video about Emu being Nika's shadow. Who is that?
Oh, I've heard of them. They're a YouTuber. They put out theories.
Yo, was it Jordan? No, I think it was Johan. They said earlier that if I was a teacher, I would be Onizuka. What does that mean? What does that mean? You never explained that.
Well, I know Oni usually means demon, but what's Onizuka?
Especially since Emu's cold storage resembles Coca-Cola in Charlie Chaplin's modern times. So Emu is a T-800 style machine. Bro, you just said Emu was an alien. Now he's a freaking, what do you call it? Terminator.
He's freaking Austrian now? What the hell?
Dude, he's an alien robot.
Model Schwarzenegger.
Now he's about Emu in the accent, I'll be back.
He's an alien robotic Nero. According to Johan, Emu is an alien robotic Nero freaking Peter Pan.
Might as well throw in the Monopoly Man in there.
Monopoly Man.
Hito no Mi, collect $200. Do not pass go.
Hito no Mi, go directly to jail.
Hito no Mi, Baltic Avenue.
Head the stream in the background slightly. What does that mean? You don't know how to do English.
We're not first monitor content for you. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, we're
background noise.
He has us on rotation, bro. Has this in rotation. Okay, so I wanted to pull this up really quick. Let me share my screen, guys. Let me share my screeny. What's going on, Damon? What's going on, bro? So, guys, I'm thinking, when we look at this is going to be heartbreaking, okay? I kind of hope I'm wrong. When we look at the Kage no Mi, it's talking about how this user's a ruler of shadows. It almost makes it seem that, controlling shadows, manipulating shadows and stuff like that in One Piece is barred. It's locked behind like a paywall, and that paywall is the Kage no Mi. So when I think about is Emu a shadow? Does Emu manipulate shadows? It makes me think so is he bypassing the necessity of this fruit? Now, maybe in the past, I guess there could be a scenario where maybe 1,000 years ago, the situation that we are in now was.
So I have a thought. I have a thought real quick.
What's that?
Maybe the Kage no Mi has a higher level fruit that exists that we haven't been introduced yet. Check. Fill me out. Fill me out. It's just like Ace in the magma fruit. Ace and Akainu, Akiji and Monet. Like, maybe it's a different level.
But what would it be? Because Brook has the soul fruit, man. What is higher than there's nothing more deep than the soul.
No, I agree. But I was just posing that idea.
What would be above that? Okay, there's soul. Okay, well, what's beyond the soul? The will, no me.
Essence, no me.
Essence, no me. The greatest emu theory ever. Maybe not this stream. It's probably a long video too, right?
Probably just the dark soul.
Yo, no way people are still doing. Yeah, I remember using that naming scheme. Yo, me, Hidden Island, Daksake, the greatest insert name here theory ever.
Maybe he's just got the power of the dark soul fruit.
It's 32 dude. You look up greatest emu theory ever made. Literally just proved my point. The first one is It's Always Sunny in Eddie's Lobby. The second one is the greatest emu theory ever made by Hidden Island. And then the third one is This Emu Theory Feels Almost Guaranteed by Daksake. That's literally the names I just gave right now. Yo, I
knew Jack was gonna be near the top.
I just can't help but laugh at the "It's Always Sunny in Marie-Joie." It just brings me back to when I would binge "Always Sunny in Philadelphia." Just imagine.
I love the early seasons of that show.
Yeah, early season was good. Anything after that sucked.
Kind of like the crossover that they do.
Oh, Damon, you're really quiet. Is that why we haven't been able to hear you?
Oh, yeah, I can barely hear him.
I can't hear him.
You're like very low and muffled, bro. Oh, BB know me, dude. That's insane. Big Mom's fruit was the upgrade. Oh, yo, you just got cooked, Smokey. You just cooked you into oblivion, boy.
Hey, it happens sometimes. It'd be like that.
What's her fruit called again?
The soul fruit.
Soul fruit.
Oh, wait, the Brooke has the revive, not the. Why do I always confuse the names?
He's generally considered the king of soul, though.
Okay, so that's my excuse.
I still think that Brooke has doesn't have the revive, but the actual hell fruit. He's able to control other people's souls. That's why he's so truly intimidating.
Bro, Eli said Damon's a shadow. He has first-hand knowledge on Emu.
That's why he's muffled. They don't want us to hear the secrets of the world.
Damon, you're low and muffled, man. It's Masad, dude. What were you doing before you joined? You're too low and muffled. Maybe rejoin? Okay, so if we still want to go with this idea that maybe, this idea of a shadow fruit is pointing to Emu, but then we look at Big Mom's Soto no Mi, and that's like the ascended version of, the shadow fruit in terms of controlling people at a more intimate level. What would Emu be? You see, like, this is part of the reason why I posited that Emu isn't even using the elementary stuff of devil fruits. Emu's actually toying with a whole new power system, which is black magic and satanic rituals.
I have another idea that could connect it. Do you remember at the beginning of the Elbaf Arc, we talked about someone having the game fruit because of the Legos?
Yeah.
What if Emu's the one that has the game fruit? Because Reversi technically is a game in Japan. So maybe these different levels that you were talking about the other day with Emu's powers, they're different versions of games. Like he has a chess version, a checkers version, even one where it's blackjack.
Ah, that's interesting.
And then we use the attributes from each of those games to like fudge around the rules around each devil fruit.
Then you kind of look at other big bads. You look at other arcs in One Piece, and you think about how, like, for an example, the Beast Pirates, they have their naming scheme based off of playing cards, and it's like, oh, that's pointing to Emu.
Not to mention Doflamingo starting basically a hunting game at the end of Dressrosa.
Hunting game, NL, a hunting game.
Dragon.
NL with the hunting game, the survival game.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Vincent might be on to something.
Like, what if Emu literally is just a child emperor that just wants to play games for all eternity?
Bro, torturing society is a game to him.
He's just bored out of his skull, and this was the perfect time for him to play a game.
Emu should have signed up for BetterHelp a long time ago, 1,000 years ago, and we probably wouldn't have the world the way it is.
I was actually thinking about something the other day. I was thinking, like, when it comes to Emu, right? We all assume this is just a pure assumption, right? And people are not going to like that I'm pointing out that this is a pure assumption. We assume that Emu remembers everything about the ancient kingdom and Joy Boy and Emu and like his history, Like if you were around for 1,000 years, dude, you would start forgetting so much crap. I don't even remember anything when I was like a 2-year-old. Now, if Emu's 1,000 years old, how can we expect that Emu remembers things 900 years ago? Maybe Emu like vaguely remembers. He had a big battle and stuff like that. But Emu's probably forgot so much stuff over the years.
So basically, Emu's like Dumbledore. He's got a pensive that he puts his memories into. He extracts his memories.
I'm not that familiar with Harry. I'm not that familiar with Harry Potter.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
I hear you, bro.
Now.
All right, cool.
I'm not familiar with Harry Potter.
Yeah, that pencil, man, was pretty dope.
He's Harry Potter.
Like, because we throw around like, oh yeah, Emu's 1,000 years old. It's like, imagine you were around for 1,000 years old, dude. Is he like insane? Does he forget a lot of things? I think it's easier.
Well, one piece of evidence that Emu doesn't is on Egghead with the hockey knot. Because you remember last stream, we said energy never dies, right? That's one of the laws of conservation. Energy doesn't die.
Yeah.
And we recognize Joy Boy's hockey in the knot.
Yep. Energy never dies. It can only be converted or changed. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking, like, we always talk about Emu, 900 years old, 1,000 years old, but we never talk about or consider the deeper implications to that. Like, if someone was 1,000 years old, their mind and body is probably something beyond what we can conceive. Like, 1,000 years is a very long time for someone to live. Like, did this guy go through like every stage of life 100 times? Did this guy like consider every view? Did this guy consider every philosophy? Like, how does the mind work after 1,000 years of running? Probably had mental experiences that no one else could ever experience just for the fact that he's been around for 1,000 years.
No, it'd be crazy is if Emu had like a little ritual and he offers the Gorosei the cup and he's like, drink this. It contains portions of my brain. That way you all can do the work. And I can
It's like
see.
the Vegapunk. It's like the Vegapunks. Stella.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before, like Emu giving parts of himself to others, kind of like the Horcruxes. So it wouldn't be surprising to have multiple versions of Emu, probably as part of the Holy Knights as well.
Well, I mean, when Harold died, it nearly killed him. That's an exaggeration. But when Harold died, Emu was not feeling too great.
Johan said he's just joking if Emu is Mr. Monopoly.
I mean, he may not be. He's got the tall hat. He's dressed in all black, and that part that we think is a robot eye could be a monocle.
I mean, he's got the 4 bridges, so he owns the 4 railroads. And if you think about it, he can send people to jail.
Shut the hell up. What do you think? We see first Emu versus Luffy or Blackbeard versus Luffy? Emu because Emu leaving Marijoa soon. So I think we would have to distinguish what we mean by Emu versus Blackbeard or Luffy versus Blackbeard. Because technically speaking, Luffy was throwing hands with Blackbeard back in Impel Down, but will we consider that as Luffy versus Blackbeard? No, probably not. So traditionally speaking, when we talk about Luffy versus Emu, Luffy versus Blackbeard, we're usually pointing at that final fight that lays down the law, that final fight that knocks down the antagonist. I still think I think Blackbeard will fall at the hands of Luffy before Emu falls at the hands of Luffy. I think Emu is the major arc or the major villain, the arch nemesis of the plot for a reason. This is going to lead into the One Piece world, the whole planet being liberated by the defeat of Emu by the hands of the main character, the protagonist. Whereas Blackbeard, he's that guy who's gunning for power. Blackbeard doesn't have worldwide power. He's trying to attain it. Luffy versus Blackbeard is about stopping Blackbeard from attaining worldwide power. Luffy versus Blackbeard is about fighting for Pirate King. So even though we do see Luffy and Emu throwing hands right now, I consider this a much different situation, a much different circumstance as to Luffy versus Emu outright. I think Luffy versus Emu outright would be at Marijoa. That's going to take place at the Big Bad's homeland. This to me is almost like when Luffy ran into Aokiji on Long Ring Longland. But wait, the real face-off against Aokiji was in Marineford. Now, maybe that's not a perfect example because Luffy didn't take down Aokiji, but I think you get my point. That's how I see it.
No, I can agree with that.
Luffy takes down Kaido at Wano, the home base. Luffy takes down Doflamingo at Dressrosa, the home base. We get this reoccurring pattern with reoccurring theme. Crocodile Alabasta. We get this reoccurring theme. Oda likes to take that traditional approach. You know, each level, each area has the big bad. And I think Oda throughout the narrative of One Piece keeps pointing at Marijoa. All we can ever see is like the camera panning there. We never had the Straw Hats go there. I think that's how One Piece finishes off. That one holy land that the world rulers live in. That's the final arc right there, baby. And I think what adds ammunition to this is the previous arc. I mentioned this recently. The previous arc, A-Kid Island. Vegapunk is giving the reader, meaning Oda, giving the reader this impression that, yo, you get the One Piece, and whoever has the One Piece, bro, they're gonna rule the world. That almost makes it seem like Laugh Tale is a precursor for fighting Emu.
Yeah, you need the One Piece to fight Emu. I mean, if you want to defeat him, you can fight him, but you're not going to defeat him unless you have the One Piece.
Now, is Luffy gonna fight? Is Luffy gonna find the One Piece, make it to Laugh Tale, get 4 road poneglyphs, achieve Pirate King without fighting Blackbeard? Most people are gonna retort and react, no way. But isn't that kind of that's kind of my point then? Luffy has to fight Blackbeard to achieve Pirate King. But this idea of getting the One Piece, this crazy power, according to Emu and or according to Oda and Vegapunk, that's gonna play in the battle against saving the world. Luffy doesn't save the world. I just want to see
my boy Buggy sitting on the empty throne, dog.
That would be funny, but Luffy, if Luffy took down Blackbeard right now, not much is gonna happen. Maybe some islands are gonna be liberated or whatever, but not much happens. If Luffy takes down Emu, the entire world is liberated, because we know that the crux of this story is the world government, Emu, the Gorosei. It makes most sense, and it's definitely, as we see throughout 1,200 chapters of One Piece, that the protagonist is the one liberating everyone. They call Nika and Joy Boy the warrior of liberation. Do we not agree that this sun god, this warrior of liberation, should be the one that liberates the whole planet? You don't liberate the whole planet by taking down Blackbeard. You liberate the whole planet by taking down Emu. Just like how you don't liberate all of Dressrosa by taking down Treble, you liberate the whole island of Dressrosa by taking down Doflamingo. You don't liberate the whole entirety of Wano by taking down King, taking down Blackbeard. No. You liberate the whole entirety of Wano by taking down Kaido, by taking down Emu.
I can understand by that realm of argumentation. I would add on to that. Blackbeard would probably be the one who stands in his way to be he'll be the litmus test to where you have the antagonist and the protag, and it's like whose will reach out in the end, so to speak.
Well, we all know who my bets are on. Yonko Mugiwara no Luffy.
Mugiwara no Luffy. And I kind of like that, like what you're getting at with that, Damon. I would add on top of that where it's like this concept, like, can Luffy take down the king of the world if Luffy's not even a king of the world? Luffy isn't even Pirate King yet, and he's going to take down the king of the world. I think Luffy's going to become Pirate King and take down the king of the world. It's going to be the Pirate King versus the World King. The king of the pirates versus the king of the world. That's what Oda's going to set up for. That's at least how I see it.
For sure. Luffy is only a mere Yonko. Of course. He is not the Kaizoku Oni.
But neither is Blackbeard.
Yep, he's not. They have to fight. I agree. I think Luffy has to fight Blackbeard before he fights Emu. You know I've been on the side that Emu is the final villain. But what I will say is, like, like the chances that I give Blackbeard being the final villain, they have gone up, but I still think it's Emu.
I think the main argumentation, the main ammunition for Blackbeard final villain is people jumping to conclusions with Emu. I mean, like, we're only seeing the bare minimum. We're only seeing the small surface level of the Emu. Do people genuinely think that Emu's entire arsenal is Domi Reversi?
Yeah, there are some people out there that disparage Emu for being a region merchant, for being a Domi Reversi merchant. There are people out there that think Blackbeard is going to absorb Emu with his Yami Yami no Mi. Which, I mean, like, these are all possibilities, but for me, it boils down to this. If Emu is not the final villain, the story's not going to make sense to me. I'm going to get lost, right? Because that's what I always believe. But we'll see what happens. I still maintain on the Emu side, though.
I would say
I'm glad you asked that question. Well, let me just ask real quick. Would it be more fulfilling if you felt like if Blackbeard and Luffy had to team up first to go against Emu, and then they both fought separately after, like come kind of almost like Naruto-esque, or if Blackbeard and Luffy fought first, and then the winner from that battle fought Emu.
Well,
which one would be more fulfilling?
I think it literally. I think where people perceive it is, or where this idea was born from in its infancy, is just Blackbeard's penchant for showing up at the exact right time when someone's weak and just swiping what he wants. And I think that's why people truly believe Blackbeard is going to come out of nowhere, sideswipe Emu, and then take the final roll. But hey, man, off these screens going to have to step out. We met his daddy. His daddy was a freaking legend. I want to see Conqueror's Haki from Blackbeard. I want to see no more running from Akainu. I want to see some on-screen feats. Taking double damage with the trade-off with the Yami Yami no Mi is ridiculous. I think people need to realize Blackbeard is freaking durable. Like, when we talk about some of the most durable characters in the story, Blackbeard needs to be put up there. Because unlike other Logios, he can't go intangible. His trade-off is he can take your Devil Fruit ability, but he takes double the damage from any attack.
That's kind of
with what you just said. Like, it got my mind percolating with what you just said. Like, every time, like, when there's chaos and it's like a miss, Blackbeard always rears his head. It's like he's always right on time. What if those specific devil fruits that he tracked down, because we know they have a mind of their own, what if,
by the way,
what if it's giving him those thoughts, like, hey, like, it's like an agent of chaos within that devil fruit, and it's leading him towards the chaos. Like, it knows exactly when to rear its head and when to, like, go away, because we know that the Hito no Mi, that Luffy's fruit, you know, is sentient, because, you know, the Gorsei said, hey, it's like this fruit has been eluding us for the past 800 years, so there is concrete evidence there.
Not only that, we have the added information that all Zoan fruits in particular have strong wills, but especially the mythical class, but even just Zoans in general.
I wanted to respond to, like, this idea, because I've heard this many times in the past from various people, this idea that Blackbeard is going to absorb Emu, and that's how the story's going to end, with Luffy versus Blackbeard having absorbed Emu. I think that, again, this would just be outside of Oda's writing style. We don't have someone swooping in and taking over taking over Doflamingo when Luffy goes and liberates Dressrosa by defeating Doflamingo. We don't have someone swooping in and taking over NL before Luffy takes down NL.
Now, I will say this, to be fair. I want to point, sorry to cut you off. I just want to point this counter argument, and it's not a very strong one, but this is what I thought of. What about Gecko Moria being defeated by Luffy and Kuma sweeping in and taking over the arc?
You said with Kuma sweeping in?
Yeah.
Wait, no, but Luffy, Kuma didn't take over Gecko Moria. Luffy beat Gecko Moria.
No, not take over. And yeah, you're right. But I mean, like, when Kuma descended on Thriller Bark, he was the guy, and we already
became the
stronger than Moria. He became the main threat.
I mean, I guess, but, like, that's a very specific scenario, because even then, with Thriller Bark, it was Gecko Moria ruling the island. He was the one that largely had control over that nation. The liberation of that island was because of his fall by Luffy. So when we're talking about a more grand scale, the liberation of the whole planet, it surely should be done by a Luffy. And I feel like that's a very specific scenario, because Kuma was already looking for Luffy to begin with. He's being set out to hunt Luffy from the world rulers to begin with, like the world government, you know, and like that's why you only really see that. That's why you only really see that in, like, one arc. Like, every other arc is the same thing. And when we talk about Emu, we're talking about the whole reason for the story. I keep trying to stress this with people. There would be no One Piece anime, manga, video game. This whole thing wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Emu's control. Emu's the reason Joy Boy was wiped out. Emu's the reason Sun God Nika's a mystery. Emu's the reason that people got to hide the poneglyphs. Emu's probably the reason Joy Boy had to hide a treasure and leave a treasure behind. The whole crux of One Piece is because of Emu. So it would be like Oda spent all that time building up Thriller Bark just to have Kuma defeat Gecko Moria, and now Luffy has to fight Kuma. That would be like, okay, well, why did you spend all that time building up Gecko Moria? That would be like reading Wano, and you have to sit there through 200 chapters building up Kaido just for Orochi to pop out of nowhere, defeat Kaido, and now it's Luffy versus Orochi. Like that's obviously not within Oda's writing. So I think Blackbeard appears as like a beloved character. He's so cool and like the cool fruits or whatever, but none of like that coolness factor to me is a sufficient argument for him being the final villain. It's just like the proof is in the pudding when Blackbeard is not even the king of the world. It's Emu.
What kind of
so
pudding?
I think the battle with Luffy versus... What was that?
I said, what kind of pudding? Banana pudding?
Blackbeard is like some chocolate pudding because of the darkness fruit. But yeah, we see this repetitive style. We see this pattern in One Piece. Luffy's liberating the world, not by defeating Blackbeard, by defeating Emu. And to be honest, I think it's total cope, because in order for someone to say that, oh, the story ends because Luffy defeats Blackbeard, you have to have multiple assumptions into that. You have to assume that maybe you think Blackbeard's going to absorb Emu in the first place. You have to assume that maybe Blackbeard is going to get the One Piece. Like you have to take these leaps of faith that aren't actually present when you talk about Emu being the final boss. Well, there's no theorizing. There's not much theorizing to do. Emu's the king of the world. Blackbeard's not the king of the world. He doesn't even have the One Piece.
If I could interject, I think I may have a way to work around that. You said before that Blackbeard absorbing Emu would be out of Oda's style.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, every single big bad, every single ruler of an island, like at least 99% of the arcs, the person's not getting usurped. Doflamingo, Crocodile, Arlong, Kaido, like almost every single arc.
Oh, here's my thing. Maybe that's exactly the kind of route Oda would do for Blackbeard, because he's definitely led it up to be for Blackbeard to be that kind of character, but it winds up backfiring on him. Instead of Blackbeard absorbing Emu and taking his power, what if Emu lets Blackbeard absorb him so he could take over Blackbeard's body?
It's actually
L is crazy. He says you're getting a contact high from me through the screen. That's why
he said I'm getting a contact what?
Contact high.
He said you're getting secondhand smoke from me, and it's got you getting a contact high. That's why.
Nah, bro. I'm sober, man. Sober.
Smokey with the butter, know me.
THC, know me.
If Blackbeard comes through and absorbs Emu, what was like all this build up to Emu for? It was a waste.
No, what I'm saying.
I'm not. This isn't Vincent. This is not against you. I understand what you said, and I think that's a great idea. I'm just saying back to the original point. If Blackbeard rolls up and he absorbs Emu, and now it's just Luffy versus Blackbeard, like the whole build up to One Piece, there's a secret evil ruler and he's been ruling the world for 1,000 years, and he took down Joy Boy, he killed Nika, he's hiding Nika, he's stopping the poneglyphs, he's pulling the strings. Well, no, actually, Blackbeard absorbed them, so forget all of that. This isn't against you, Vincent. It's against the take I was originally responding to.
And I understand that there. What I was simply saying is that Blackbeard succeeds in absorbing Emu's power, but that's exactly what Emu wanted.
What Emu wants Blackbeard's strong vessel.
Yeah, not just for his Davy blood, but maybe because Emu could be the other half of the Yami Yami no Mi. Because, as Smokey explained, Blackbeard's Devil Fruit has double damage, but zero
versatility.
versatility, but Emu has ultra versatility, but very little power or to it. So what if by combining the two, Blackbeard becomes the ultimate entity, the Antichrist?
Oh shoot. Let him cook. This is like the other side of the coin to Blackbeard Emu absorption. This is the cooler version.
And thus, Emu achieves his ultimate goal by becoming the real king of the world. Because
bro, that's like Madara, dude.
Yeah.
Madara, Obito
turn out that the other god fruits would have to team up to defeat.
Yeah, I was gonna say that does remind me of Obito and Madara.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Very
Obito. But no, Vincent, I like that much better than outright Blackbeard absorbs Emu, and now it's like Blackbeard defeated Emu. Your version's much better. And I mean, we always had like these clues. There's all these guys in the One Piece community for years on end having theories that Emu needs a new vessel. Emu's hopping from vessel to vessel. So what you're kind of saying is like Emu's final vessel is Blackbeard. It's pretty much right.
Yes, basically, because if this is the perfect way to have Oda make Blackbeard the ultimate villain, because it wouldn't just be Blackbeard, it would be like whoever else is inside Blackbeard's mind and Emu. Because I'm thinking that other personality that is in Blackbeard's mind is the other half of Emu. He's like, they're trying to pull each other together.
Okay, yo. Chat, we're going to wrap up here in 10 minutes. I appreciate you guys being here. We're going to chop it up, talk a little bit more for the next 10 minutes, and then we'll head out. Continue, Smokey.
So if we got 10 minutes left, should we do the Chopper stuff now?
Yeah. Lay out your theory with Chopper. Chat, okay, I want you guys to hear this take because, there's a lot of questions surrounding Chopper. What is the true essence of his fruit? What are the secrets behind Chopper? Why is he clearing the Domi Reversi? I want you guys to hear this take, hear this theory, hear this intellectual idea by Smokey when it comes to Chopper. And chat, let me know what you guys think after he wraps this up.
All right. So first off, before anything, I got to give credit where credit's due. This isn't like the idea didn't start with me. Like I saw this, Grand Line brought it up. So, all right. So I know the two prevalent. There's one. I know that everybody is jumping on the Chopper Forest God theory, which I don't mind and I don't hate. I think that's possible too. Where I'm coming from is another prevailing theory that I've seen recently. Now, we know that Chopper, his goal is to cure all diseases. And we recently just saw in this chapter, Zoro said, oh, maybe it's because Chopper is a good doctor. Well, what I'm posing is that the fight with Queen and the ice demons is what prepared Chopper for being able to get rid of the Domi Reversi that quickly. Now, if you remember when Chopper was coming up with the antidote for the virus, for the ice Onis, he said something about chopper phages. So my idea, or the idea that is also going around is, what if Chopper is so, like, when he went through that and cured himself of the ice Oni disease, it put in antibodies or chopper phages in his DNA, and basically it's like him curing a sickness. Like Domi Reversi is a sickness. That's what I was going to bring up.
Chopper's DNA is medicine.
Basically, because he cured the disease. He introduced those antibodies into his bloodstream.
Yeah,
and they're carrying over. It could even be the Rumble Ball. We could even go with that.
I was going to say, I think I said something like that a few weeks back about Domi Reversi being like an actual sickness, and that could be the case there. I like that theory.
Yeah, so that's basically it. Like the basic manga panel supporting this is Chopper's Dream, obviously, where he talks about that. Go to Wano, go to the Isoni stuff, then go to Elbaf and read this recent chapter where Zoro said he's a good doctor. And I'm sure there's more manga evidence, but I haven't delved completely into this. Right now, this is a half-baked theory off a popular theory that I'm trying to refine.
But so it's a good theory.
Basically, everything that Threeville was saying at the beginning of the stream is basically what we can do to this theory. We can refine it and make it better because theory crafting is an art form. Right now, I can see like 10,000 holes to punch in this. So it's not a perfect theory yet. I still think we need more information.
So Chopper's DNA is medicine.
Yes, he is medicine for DNA. Through curing himself through the Ice Oni and the Rumble Ball.
And he can cure 9 incurable diseases, Domi Reversi being one of them.
Exactly.
So Chopper does
have legs. Yeah.
It would give Chopper more agency, right? We always want characters to have agency.
Yeah.
So I think this would give Chopper his agency in the post-time skip. I mean, Brother's about to get replaced for emergency food by Ragnar. Merchandise sales are going down.
No, so Chopper was looking for the cure, but he was the cure all along.
I mean, I think they heavily spoiled this in the live action as they talked about the all-cure mushroom. Like, it's specifically a mushroom.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. When was that? When did they say that?
Are you talking about the mushroom he went to go give Hero up? Because I thought the mushroom killed him.
No, in the live action, they talked about how it's an all-cure mushroom.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, so it's Chopper's fruit is the medicine that cures it all. That cures everything.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I already know about his dream. Yeah, I understand that much. But when we're talking about like how is that going to be done, I guess it makes sense that it's
via the fruit and its medical knowledge.
The hito no mi.
And with that,
there he has legs. Yeah.
The healer no mi.
The white mage fruit. You don't fuck with the white mage. Pardon my French.
But I mean, right now that's what I can see if it's not the Forest God happening. Because personally, I always thought
better than Forest God would be.
I always thought the Forest God would be Green Bull. That way, we could have a god in each set of the factions.
Yeah,
we could have Imu the Celestial being the sea god. We got Luffy the pirate being the sun god. We could have Blackbeard, another pirate, being the earth god. Or we could have Dragon being the rain god, and that'll put in the revolutionaries. Then we got Green Bull being the forest god. That'll be the navy. Yeah.
I was kind of thinking towards Summers because he also has a plant-based devil fruit. And
he's just so damn weak and incompetent. That's the only reason why I can't buy it.
I do agree that he is the mayor of Bozo City, USA, but still, there could be something to him that he's holding back. I mean, we saw the massive upgrade all of the MMAs got when Imu came to the island. Imagine what's going to happen next chapter when we get.
I definitely think all the Holy Knights and all the Nightmare creatures will get a boost if there are any left.
Dude,
if he comes to Elbaf.
Luffy and Cole might lose this arc, and they'll have to run away.
I mean, things are going way too easy for us right now. I don't buy it.
I have this theory that I've been working on here on how what Elbaf is going to end with. We all talked about how this has connected us to like Sabaody Archipelago. I think it's going to be more towards the fact of Robin getting kidnapped by the world government. Like Summers is going to reform. Yeah, like he's going to reform around Robin, bind her up, and they're going to all go to the pentagram and just warp out with Luffy reaching out like he did back at Sabaody and just missing his chance. Thus, having them all forced to go to Marijois and get Robin back and face Imu anyway.
You know, that would be hold on, let me respond to that, and then we're gonna wrap up the stream. So what I want to say about that, right, is we know Marijoa is backwards. The Straw Hats have been sailing forwards throughout the New World. And we actually know from pre-time skip when Luffy was approaching the red line, when he was approaching Marijoa and he was seeing the red line, Luffy said, okay, the next time I cross this, I will become the Pirate King. Meaning, when I'm in the New World and I'm crossing the red line, I'm going to be Pirate King. This insinuates and implies that Laugh Tale is at the end of the New World. So, either like with your possible scenario, if that were to happen, then I wonder how it would work, because they're implying that Laugh Tale is forward. It's like somewhere at the end of the New World, but then Marijoa is backwards. So like, are the Straw Hats gonna go fight Emu and save Robin backwards and then go forwards again to finish the New World, or are they gonna go forwards to finish the New World and find the One Piece without Robin, then keep sailing forwards until they reach Marijoa? You see what I'm saying?
For me, I just don't want to see Robin in the position of a damsel in distress again. That's what it is for me. But it's interesting.
I mean, I know that I know they can't find the One Piece without Robin. So it would be, I guess it would kind of be counterproductive to take her away from that. But he said the next time he crosses it, that doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that he would not just go back to his original adventure. And if they're capable of flight, then that would make it a lot easier for them to go back and forth.
I mean, I guess that's technically possible,
but you look there with that.
Yeah, well, what always, because I've always toyed around with these kinds of things. You know, Luffy going to Marijoa, like going backwards. Like maybe they got to go get, I don't know, Vivi or something. But what always throws me off is that Marijoa is like behind them, and they got to keep going forwards through the New World. So if they wanted to complete the New World, but then they also have to go to Marijoa, then that means they have to go backwards and then forwards again. And like, I feel like the way, because mainly throughout One Piece, it's mainly just like sailing forwards. They're sailing forward through the paradise. Then, you know, they had to split up at Shabandi. They meet up at Shabandi. Then they sail forwards through the New World, you know? But I don't know. Anything's possible in One Piece.
To piggyback on that, I like Vincent's theory about Robin being kidnapped. So hear me out. This was one thing I was playing around with the theory. You know how we didn't see Robin's father? You know how that was like an ambiguous mystery. So, and then how they said the Burn Scar Man, he was probably a government guy. What if the Burn Scar Man is Robin's father? And he's guarding the poneglyph, and he's actually been one of the people who's been trying to get her at the behest of the government. He's trying to inwardly like try to intercept the government to get to her first, but use the government as a way to like collect her because he got split up from her since O'Hara.
Dang.
That's if that was the case,
just a big brain
show up in his lobby. Damn, my daughter's being sacrificed.
I mean, I've also had some theory that Aokiji is going to be the one that kidnaps Robin and takes her back to Hachinosu because they now have the keys to the pentagram.
Oh yeah, maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's to Hachinosu. I mean,
and that's how we jump to Hachinosu instead. So, like, there's
multiple ways. I think that's way more plausible.
So for me, it's why would Blackbeard take Robin? He's got Pudding. He's got Luffy. He can hypnotize Pudding into awakening and read the poneglyphs. No, Pudding can read the poneglyphs when she awakens.
Maybe so it won't work.
Need Robin. I just hate any Robin in damsel distress ideas, gentlemen. That is it for me. We've done that. Why do we need Oda to keep repeating?
But bro, those are the ones with the best art.
Thank you guys for sharing. I hate to cut it short. Damon Deuce, I'm going to be think about that for a while. Could it be that Robin's dad is the man with the burn scar? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But that's interesting. I've never heard of that before. Guys, I hate to cut it short here. I do appreciate you guys, Damon, Smokey, Vincent, everyone in the text chat. I greatly appreciate you guys. I wish all of you a beautiful, wonderful morning, day, or night, wherever you guys are. We are going to be back live again for the chapter reaction. It's probably going to be in 24 hours from now. But thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for liking the stream, subscribing, commenting, all the YouTube stuff. I greatly appreciate it. All of you guys are amazing. I always like hearing your guys' jokes and theories and hot takes and all of that. It's always a pleasure. I greatly appreciate you guys. Chat, always take care of yourselves. I love you guys greatly. Be amazing people. Grow in virtue. Grow in intelligence. Be the best that you can be. Never give up, chat. You guys are awesome. Thank you for always being with me. Love you guys greatly. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace out.